Hello and welcome to Your Heart's Path. My name is Faye Rushton, and I'm here today to bring through some psychic and intuitive messages for the month of September. It's the year 2025. If this does find you at another time and you feel a particular pull or an intuitive resonance with listening or watching this video, there might be some hidden messages here that are relevant for you. Welcome back to those of you who have been supporting this channel for long periods of time. Thank you. I feel you. I see you. I'm excited to be here with you. We've got a really big month, one in which I feel like I'm looking at quite seriously as to where I can contribute in a positive way because a lot of the information has come through can feel quite dense, and there's no point in just kind of highlighting what it is that you're already sensing or feeling in your system. It's actually really important that we can shine the light on this and hold a higher perspective. So as that we can tap into our own inner resources and work with the art of alchemy or transformation um, to support our awakening, both individually and collectively. Part of my role is observing patterns. The busier I become, the more of you that I work with, the further the corners of the world this service work takes me to, the more I see frequency in patterns that are surfacing throughout the month. And one of those patterns today is somewhere that we're going to go into this reading because, funnily enough, it's something that came to my attention through a mini reading again this morning, but something that I've worked with on and off throughout the month. And symbolically, it's a theme that we can break down and gather some information from that will allow for us to language with softness, space within our own environment, an opportunity to kindly bring to the light some of these pieces that have been festering, some that have been completely unacknowledged, some that have been denied, some that have been repressed, and some that have just been neglected. The intensity of this time is amping up, and I've seen a lot of flatness, a lot of sadness just over the last fortnight. This can be surfacing in your own reality, just of like random, spontaneous need to cry. It can feel like very strong resistance. There can be fatigue, and great spouts of exhaustion. This can also take us to a place where we really start to question, what do we value? What's life all about? Why am I really here? What really matters? It sort of starts to surface our own inner conflicts. And sometimes we can ask these questions, or we can be having this very felt experience of almost being in a collective pressure cooker um, that can create a tendency to think it just be you that's going through this experience. So it can be refreshing just to come into this space and recognize and realize we're all in this together. And from somebody who's been working with people on the depths of the being, I've noticed, I've felt it personally myself, the discomfort that has been present in the last month. Some of this is coming into the first couple of weeks of September, but it starts to sort of change shape and starts to reveal to us some of the answers to our questions. So we have an opportunity to become more organized this month. But this pattern that I recognized in the collective has stimulated our psychic sense of clairsentience. It's very felt based. It's very connected to our emotional body. It's very loud within the astral plane. So your dreams and things can have been revealing lots of hidden messages for you that sort of seem much more easily symbolically to translate a little closer to your present reality, perhaps. But there's also been like a felt sensation that can even be affecting things like heat within the body. It's also brought with it like sensations of anxiety and then this tension or this contraction. when we have this kind of tension or this contraction or this squeeze that sort of takes place, often what's happening is that we have a big sort of purge out. You can imagine I'm holding a sponge. We squeeze out all of these pieces to the surface that need to be brought to light, the bits that are unacknowledged, denied, repressed, neglected, these pieces beneath. And then the sponge or the pressure starts to let go. And then all of a sudden, this watery kind of mess that's been buried beneath is now in our internal environment. Water symbolically is intuition, but it's also emotion. And the emotional body seems to be the piece that has been most affected the last couple of weeks. This transformation and this experience that we're having within the emotional body, where you've been asking these questions, why am I feeling this way? What's this contraction all about? What's the conflict? Why haven't things worked out? These kind of questions where we're taking a moment to sort of pause and reflect, that the answer starts to surface in the murky kind of waters that come in the aftermath of this contraction per se. So as I'm tracking this in my body right now, I can see already we've started to feel this water build. The water again stimulates this clairsentient experience, lots of movement within the astral plane, but it brings to our attention vibrationally where our consciousness is in this moment, in our reality, knowing that that's something that we're kind of always fluctuating and moving through the astral plane. It's not one straight line, depending on our vibration. Our vibration is affected by the quality of our consciousness, including from our thoughts, our emotions, and all these things that even have laid dormant in our out there tucked away in the corner. So it's a beautiful point of celebration when we have this opportunity to bring what has been denied, repressed, neglected, or unacknowledged to the surface. Sometimes this is memories. Sometimes this is just decisions that we felt we didn't have power to have a say. We were programmed or conditioned in a particular way. And what we can see is that as this all kind of wets itself in the environment, we sort of put in a position where the emotions sort of start to calm down, and we'll see this like, 7th, 8th of September. There's much less resistance in the body. We're in this place more of surrender, and we're kind of having a look at going, okay, what's in my ocean? What is it that's surfaced in all of this? And with this lens of this is perfect, everything that I've just experienced, what is this revealing to me? What data and information has been programming my reality that's now outdated? What is it here that I want to believe? How can I transcend my experience so as that I am closer to the laws that govern our universe that are in service to unity? We have a lot of conversation here around separateness. There's been a lot of journey through conflict with yourself and being able to make decisions, conflict with yourself and feeling that there is an alternative option for you, but not knowing how to get to the other side of the bridge, conflict in being under-resourced. Conflict with being ahead of time is something that's also coming in here. So holding a vision of a future that might not even manifest in your life, yet you feel it's part of your journey to hold this and to act upon it and respond to it, um, even if it feels impossible right now. Now, look, I know we're kind of going into all this sort of different territory, and I'm painting a little bit of scene. And if you can see what I'm putting down, you're kind of standing in this space where there's water all around. It can come crashing in with these big waves. But as these big waves come into your reality and stir further to the surface and bring it closer to your eyes, that which is been hiding in the corner, you have this opportunity to bring it into the light. Under the light of your own awareness, you are closer to the truth. It then gives you an opportunity to make decisions, to curve, to change your reality, to let go. So is that these beautiful frequencies that are going to be dropping in almost like I can see this just through September. Light from another dimension coming into the spaces and places that we've cleaned out in order to bring more warmth, in order to steer us toward more unity, where we feel less separate from the world around us or from the idea of what it is you want to bring into the world between him and her or us and you or me and them. We're moving into a space where there is an opportunity for more harmony. Now, there are definitely different levels of how this is manifesting because we can zoom right out and see this on a whole. But I'm more interested in getting into the nitty gritties of how might be showing up in your life so as that you really feel like you can personalize this experience and symbolically and intuitively start to create some movement forward in this energy because the tendency to kind of feel like you're drowning, to feel like you can't, your feet are now off the ground and you're wading water, to feel like it gets so muddy you can't see. These are all byproducts of feeling under-resourced or being in such resistance to truth because there's too much fear or because you've given all your power over to ego, to logic, to needing reason for everything, that you're unable to allow in epiphany, alternative ideas, to let go and take a risk. This is the kind of energy that I can see almost has us taking like leaps and bounds this month, meaning you can shift this energy at such a pace. Have you the resources to make this change from inside, move the fear, shift the fear, see the truth, that your life can look completely different? I'm contemplating almost in this moment starting this again because I want to make it neater for you. But this is kind of the energy of this month. And I can feel that surface in my own system. We can be like taking steps into what feels really super light and whoa, is this the right thing for me? Let's keep our intention really pure here. Obviously, in this space of awakening, we're always transforming density. We're wanting to bring this into the light. We're transforming this into medicine that can awaken humanity. The issue here is with resistance, and we need to learn how to surrender our ego and transcend our will so as though it's aligned with the highest good of all. Isn't that part of our awakening? Meaning the actions and the decisions that I make in my everyday life, I know have a direct effect on you and your life because we are one. And I'm going to treat myself as though I would treat you. And I'm going to treat you as though I would treat myself. And we have this opportunity here to really increase our self-love, our love for other, so as that we can close the gap of this separation or this conflict or this almost like the battle to come into a space where we are unifying our individuality into a space where we are considering our footprint, our dreams, our intentions, our actions, our decisions for the highest good. That doesn't always mean it's the quick fix. This is a period of time where we realize I'm either disciplined or I'm addicted. I'm either committed to this path or I'm living in denial. I am treating myself and my body and my being with love, or I'm feeling unhealthy and unwell. And we're starting to see from this center point with all this, the little nitty gritty bits and pieces. We're not looking at this logically, we're looking at it symbolically. Where have I been contributing to the separation? Where have I been abandoning myself? Where have I been creating conflict in order to recognize and realize within myself where I am still holding on to anger and resentment and bitterness or confusion. So, September leads us into a position where we are forced to make decisions. We move from this place of really feeling lots of emotions, this kind of like super watery, into this place where we are gathering more truth in order to be informed so that we can make decisions that are for our highest good in the highest good of all moving forward. And you might look at these like these aren't big macro decisions. These aren't huge, big, do I go and live in that country or do I go and live in that country? Or do I join the House of Mystics or not join the House of Mystics? I do believe that is that life changing. Do I stay in this relationship or not stay in this relationship? These are more micro pieces. This is my intuition told me, for myself personally, stop eating gluten. I told you this last month. I've still done it a couple of times and it feels like self-betrayal, right? It's only a couple, but it comes with a stream of evidence where I can see a pattern. So instead of either not having gluten or getting an alternative option, because that's what my body's asked for and I trust its intelligence, I might go, oh, I can't be bothered to drive to the shop, so I've already been there today. Laziness. So where's laziness and the ego of laziness surfacing in my life that is preventing me from showing up for you more fully? These are all the little micro things that start to create, and we can see as a whole, this is how I'm creating my life and my reality. How seriously do I want to take this intuition? Not as a punishment, yes, as discipline, but because I can see that this is what I do for myself is what I do for the whole. And the more truth I can accept from this level of consciousness, the more truth that frees up to me out the other side of this. So these are all the micro things. If your body's saying stop eating this, you stop eating this. And you do whatever it takes in order to shift your own internal environment based on the information and the data that's already been given to you, so that you can rise to this little platform inside of you where you have a better view and you can start to make decisions that take you from a space where you are less separate from yourself, from the world, from other, and start to work from more toward more wholeness. So unity is also wholeness. There is warmth. So we're looking at these other themes within the heart. We're looking at where our conditions. We're looking at programming. Programming was interesting this month, and I've been watching this pattern. It's absolutely fascinating to me, and I'm going to ask you a question where you can go and explore. And I'd love your feedback around this. I've witnessed it in my own life, the story of Wizard of Oz and Dorothy, and even the dog, and realizing, having another realization that the power is inside of me, not somebody else, um, and the journey, our archetypal journeys that were introduced to us as children. Some of these are coming to an end. What I mean by this is I've seen Rapunzel in readings. I've seen Snow White. I spoke about Cinderella with somebody yesterday. There's the Peter Pan going on in masculine type energies in my own life. I want you to see what stories you were really connected to, or even TV programs, things that were programmed to you as a child where you felt that's me. Maybe you were Spider-Man, maybe you were Batman, because we have this awakening taking place where I'm so excited about this, where the subconscious has been archetypally programmed and conditioned to run this story through your life, and we are coming to the ending. And so, whether you're the rebel, whether you're the one who has waited around for the prince to come and save you, whether you felt trapped in the tower, that was another one. These things are crumbling. The tower moment is happening. The prince hasn't shown up. Um, the power is inside of you. No one else can fix you or heal you. The God is not in somebody else in Oz. It's inside of your own being. And the superhero piece, the one that comes out at nighttime, Batman and Robin, his sidekick, and all these stories, they're stories, but they're myths. And they're archetypal patterns that have been weaved into the depths of our being that are very deeply connected to the inner child within us. Oh, I love this channel. That is maturing and coming to an end in the story. For some of you, that has been birthing, so becoming a mother. I've seen this in my own local community. So the maiden dying into the mother, you die. The maiden dies, the mother is born. You can see these patterns where it's helpful to look at it from this perspective because I want for you to turn around and have a look at that story and understand the depths of it symbolically so as that you are very consciously aware about what you have learnt and how you now can transcend this story into a different experience. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to weave more fairy tales into your life. Okay. So we have the awakening of humanity taking place. So it's a very curious time to have a look and see what archetypal patterns or what archetypal stories are within your blueprint and not just the shadow side, which we've explored a bit today, not just the saboteur, not just the addict, not just the wounded child, not just the victim. Who are these beautiful archetypes inside of you that your soul has journeyed and is ready to bring into fruition? Is it the mystic? Is it the seer? Is it the intuitive? Is it the magician? Is it the medicine woman? Is it the leader? Emperor is something else that's coming to mind. So we have this shift, and I could see, and I have been viewing these stories like old books, and this realization of like, whoa, I've just woken up from this programming. I've just realized I'm at the end of the story. I've gotten to the place where the mythology has come into its fullest fruition, and I'm not going back to the beginning of this. I'm gonna close the door on this chapter, thank it for what it is, and I'm entering into a different chapter, a different story. It's not even a different chapter. This is the kind of ending and beginning we're all experiencing. So I feel like conversations around archetypal patterns and expressions is really beautiful and really important. Having a look at where which archetypes within you contribute to the whole, and where you feel called toward. And I mean, I've been biased in the looking at everything is spiritual, not just these spiritual roles or these spiritual characters. They're just what's in my own awareness, the alchemist, the visionary, these are things that are alive within me. What's alive within you? A sense of purpose at this point in time keeps us really beautifully grounded, but it also keeps us in this space of service. And service, if we look at it like an action, it's I am here, I am present, I am ready to consciously respond to what's alive. And so I'm going to encourage you to be really playful at this time and in some of the density, in some of these challenges, to bring the lightness in some of that. To recognize and realize too, your intuition at this time can give you half a story until you allow for what's in the water just to become still enough or stagnant enough that it's there right in front of you and you can't ignore it. It's almost like that sediment on top of the water if it all stops running and it all stops flowing. For some of you, you need to arrive at that space of absolute stillness where you can see your own reflection in the water. When we're speaking of like squeezing it all out of our own sponge. Oops. And so we bring that to the surface where you're looking at it for what it is. For some of you, that truth is really challenging to digest. For some of you, some of it can't be digested. My beautiful acupuncturist said that to me. Some things can't be digested. That's a really important piece of information here. But what do we do with that? So we are looking at toxins, and then this beautiful theme and this pattern that I have been tracking alongside of these fairy tales that are literal conditioning and programming in our unconscious, in the collective unconscious, that are coming to surface, where we have an opportunity to rewrite these narratives internally and look at alternative ways of experiencing life from a higher consciousness, or being open to receiving that, is this theme of mold. So I know we just looked at a little bit of stagnancy, but you would be alarmed by the amount of people that have been coming to me bringing mold into my awareness in sessions. It wasn't until this morning when I did the mini reading that afterwards, when I closed off this reading for this person, all of this information started spewing out around mold and how it's around decay, around how it forms in stagnation, where there is a lack of light, where there is a lack of warmth. And what I could see was washing hanging up outside, like time to air things out. Air is in the heart. Time to bring things into the light. It's time to dry things out. So for some of you, you're going into autumn. It's perfect to start to shed and to let things go, to dry things out that have been absorbing all of your emotional and empathic nature or energy that is no longer for your highest good, because it's not an environment that serves you anymore. You've got the lesson. You're at the end of your chapter. It's time to transform. Mold is something that, yes, we could say eventually it breaks down and it creates fertile soil, fertile ground for renewal and for rebirth. And for some of you, you will see that. For others, we want to have a look at the quality of the breakdown. Is that the type of soil you want to plant your foundations in? Mold is something that calls our attention to what has been ignored, or what has been hidden, or what has been unacknowledged, as denied, repressed, or neglected. When I'm looking at this symbolically, I'm taken straight to the lower astral planes. You know this in your dream space. If you're dreaming in the lower astral, it's usually dark. Things seem wet. You will see a lot of like cobbled old stone alleyways. There's no sunshine. There's weird, creepy beings that don't even really have form. They almost look like mold. It's smoky. It's smoggy. It's damp, and you can't see around the corners. There's not these big open spaces. You have lots of buildings, lots of underworld stuff where there's no windows, and there's a certain tone to that, which is, it feels fearful. It feels on edge. What's coming next? It's this discomfort. It's where we see addiction, a disconnection from heart. It's where we see our traumas and things too. So it's not about looking at this as bad. It's just an environment that vibrationally aspects of us still reside in, and we're working to bring them into the light. So we can become super curious of the toxicity that is showing up in our bodies as evidence that there are memories, conditioning, programming, pieces that have been ignored, almost can't be anymore. This is that pressure. This is that squeezing that either takes you into that direct pattern of self-sabotage, where you have to disconnect in order to forget about it, whether that's through drinking, smoking, sex, food, uh, Instagram, computers, uh, what's this? The goggles and things people are putting on to go into a different reality so that they don't need to deal with the one that's right here. I'm sure there's healthy aspects of all of this stuff where there's harmony and balance, but let's be honest and let's be real. So the beauty of this is, if we can air things out right now, Air is also the element of creativity. This is such beautiful medicine right now. Instead of fighting and projecting, write a poem, walk away, go outside. It's a nice time to bring light and warmth and to start to dry out some of this moisture and to acknowledge what has been ignored. Sometimes a wound can heal on its own. Sometimes it needs cleaning and it needs a little bit of protection, and the body needs a bit more vitamin C in order to heal the wound. We're tending to ourselves in our life in a way that is personal, but it's compassionate and it's kind. But we need to also be aware that we can be compromised by unseen forces in these lower astral planes that call for us through the recognition of the archetype of the saboteur, where we can call some of our power back from the way that we're taking care of our body. And I feel that this comes up a lot with the physical body this month. We can see this with health. It's a hugely beautiful time to help the body detox, to acknowledge the guidance that's coming from your intuition when it comes to food and movement and mental and emotional discipline and care. If you're being called to go and learn somatics because you're done with the talk therapy, go for it. If you're feeling like you experience life clairsentiently, but you need more knowledge, you want to see, you want to be able to hear God, you want to be able to um, open up your clairaudience, join the House of Mystics, or find someone else that can teach you to awaken your psychic abilities. We're at this place right now where you have a decision to make. Will you evolve or will you repeat the cycles of the past? And the thing is here, the illusion here is that we're going to really struggle to start those cycles again, those less than love cycles, those unconscious cycles, because you are conscious of the truth. And it's what you do with that truth now that really matters. This is not about letting other people down. This is about how we've let ourselves down. And it is a time that asks for our vulnerability. It is a time that asks for our sensitivity. It's a time that asks for our compassion towards ourselves and towards other people, because it's kind of like fishes out of the water. And so there's this evolution that needs to happen. And for some of you, you'll grow lungs really quickly. And for others, there's versions of you that need to die in order to be reborn in this moment. So it's a big time. I know you've been feeling this inside of your system. But what mold also does is brings us to cleansing, right? It takes us to a space where we need to have a look at what's causing the issue. Where is the moisture coming from? How can I purify this experience? Okay. Emotions reveal our attachments to particular people, to particular stories, to particular locations, to particular job descriptions or titles, to spiritual identities or egos. So we need to be prepared to surrender it all. And this is where we're asking that question again: who am I? Or what am I here for? What's alive for me right now? What is it that I've been consciously ignoring that needs my attention, that I need to take action on in order to feel more whole, to be more whole, to recognize the whole of my system? So for some of you, this is a psychic awakening. And when I trusted my guides to create the House of Mystics to start in October, I thought, whoa, that's a really long time to enroll people. I have a very small group of women that have joined the House of Mystics 4.0, which means that you get a lot of my time, a lot of my energy. You get more of me being in a smaller container, a smaller group. There are still some positions available because of the nature of this container. There is a capacity, and I'm not at it. It is such a beautiful time to be working with the expansion of your consciousness in a safe and protected environment where you receive the tools to be able to navigate the lower astral, to be able to recognize where you've been ignoring it and why, so that you can transcend it and start to utilize your own medicine to access these higher dimensions within your being so that we can get closer to the truth and close the gap of separation between me and you and them and us and life. And so there's a huge shift in consciousness that's taking place. Be prepared to let go of things that you were previously attached to make room for something else to drop in. For a lot of you, this has been relationship endings. This is looking at your career and going, oh my gosh, this does not make me happy anymore. What steps do I need to take in order to start to steer myself into a different direction? But this is watching where we're in conflict with ourselves and with other people, and where we need to take responsibility to work with the solutions of the questions that we have been asking and start with the information we've already been given. If you've been given advice to take better care of your body and start exercising, but you're concerned about the politics that's happening over here, then we need to start over here. And so it's just a readdressing of what is right here, right now, in your attention, in your awareness, and how you can best take responsibility for this. What starts to happen in this moment, and I've seen this with projects, there's been many of you that have come to me and gone, I had this amazing, I had this launch ready, and I thought I was going to have 20 people, 30 people all showing up, and I've sold 2 tickets. I've had a similar experience with the House of Mystics. There's space for 12 people, and there's just a handful in there, and I'm okay with it. We have to accept that there is this is the nature of things and that there is something bigger at play. But what this starts to do is we start to work a little bit more with the micro. We start to go, okay, well, in replacement of that, what are my other alternatives? Where else can I be of service with the energy I would have been putting into this? What else can I do? Where else can I contribute? And we must remain grateful. We must remain we must be in a space where we're working towards accepting the truth of our reality and how we can navigate this from a heart centered place so as that we can actually make a difference here in this life. We've got to stop taking things so personally, yet it is deeply intimate, this experience here in life. And so we have to take our healing seriously. We have to look after our bodies and our beings and each other. And so I like this. I like that this is a time of cleansing, of purification, of a releasing of the toxins. Yes, this is physical, but this is also energetic too. This is also mental. Think about this: toxic thoughts, these sorts of things, toxic patterns, toxic substances. We're looking at purifying. And purifying, I always say this, but not as like the virgin purity. We're talking about purifying to get closer to the truth, to allow for our bodies and our systems to be working optimally in relationship with one another as a whole, holistic. This is the direction that has been awoken in our collective consciousness. This is where we're being steered toward. You're not separate from that, but you work with the level of consciousness and that you're already at. Action the wisdom that's already been given to you, and you will begin to see that this water that has been dispersed all around, that some of that evaporates into air and becomes beautiful creative ideas for you. Some of that will start to drain out and go back to where it belongs. And in this airing out, we start to reveal a very different landscape where we have soil that is super fertile, that will be ready for new creation, where you have space or direction open up because you've chosen a vehicle of transformation to help you evolve through this process. But it calls us to a place where we are coming out of conflict into acceptance, and this space where we are beginning to take more responsibility for the effect that our vibration, your vibration, has on reality. If you're interested in working more with the unseen forces, if you're having a very empathic, clairsentient experience of life, which we access through the heart chakra here, which many of you will, this is part of our awakening. This is also the astral plane, your dream plane. If you are curious about exploring some of these higher dimensions in order to gather different levels, high levels of truth. It takes us closer to the truth and open to work with your psychic abilities to help you on your path, to support you in your spiritual path. Then the House Mystics is open. There's 2 more weeks of enrollment. As I said, it's a small group, so you're going to get all of my attention and my energy. Um, this is a really beautiful thing. And I don't anticipate it's going to be the same next year. I'm making changes and I'm opening the doors to men. The structure of the course will be changing. I'm not actually sure what that looks like yet. That's just the data and the information that I've been given. So this will teach you energetic hygiene. It will teach you about the individual clairs and senses within your body and your being. But it will also connect you to community. You'll be able to join the coven out the other side where we continue to practice this, but you'll be able to do mini readings and you'll also have the protection necessary to explore these higher dimensions, to go into the astral plane consciously. And if you find yourself in the lower domains, to be in a space more of curiosity, to integrate the parts of you through your own healing journey that are ready to come into that space of wholeness. So we're working with this element of resistance that we spoke about, with the ego, with surrender, with will, this connection to a higher consciousness. And we do that through the development of a relationship with spirit, with our higher self, with our bodies and our beings, and integrating a holistic approach with the physical and the non-physical so that you can come into a space of more wholeness. This can be for practitioners and it can also be for people that are just empathic, intuitive, that are looking to be able to access more information and more data from their reality for this evolution beyond the current threshold in which you're already in. And it's an initiation. It's 4 months. All classes are recorded. So if you can't make the lives, you still have access to the community, the Telegram group chat that's going all the time. And you'll have access to the course material for an entire year. We do have a 2 week break over the holiday period in December, which kind of breaks things up nicely. And there's a stack of pre-recorded material and classes and meditations and things to support you through that period of time as well. Time to air out the psyche, time to bring in warmth, time to dry things out, to bring them to the light whilst we have a little bit of a crumbling, an opportunity for transformation and change, and where these archetypal patterns that have been given to you right from your childhood, where you've got an opportunity to walk through a door, receive the message from this mythological story that might have been programming and animating your life, and either time to bury that one for good or to evolve it into something that, is as mature, is more mature. And that's what's happening. We're maturing here. Um, so best of luck. It's a great time to have a reading. There won't be as much space in my calendar come October because of the nature of the House of Mystics, and my devotion to that space will be taking priority. So if you'd like a reading before then, you can find all the details below. If you have any questions, reflections, I'd love to hear for you what has come up in listening to this reading this month. I know we've taken a little bit more time than normal, but it's nice just to, go along the journey and see what comes up. Lots of love. I will be seeing you in October. Best wishes for spring for some of you, where we've got this new life being born, and for autumn over the other side of the world, where you've got a big letting go. Lots of love wherever this finds you. I'll talk to you soon.